Now, this is the most recent Luminate streaming ratings, and this is an article from Variety covering this. This is dated October 1st, and Luminate is the one that covers domestic viewership, so US numbers. And this is just the newest chart, and it's actually, there was a little bump in viewership numbers, and when I say a little bump, I do mean little. The previous week of this Luminate data showed the Luminate streaming minutes as 346 minutes watched, and I think that's even less than what the Acolyte was getting at one point. And so the next week, it actually got a little bit of a bump, and I think it's the Siege of Eregion episode. So maybe like people thought it's an action-heavy set piece. Maybe there'll be something good in it, so we'll check it out. So with that, it got 398 million minutes watched. That's still bad. Streaming Originals Television for the week of September 20th through 26th. So it's actually tied with Emily in Paris. I think that's how you're supposed to say it. Emily in Paris, the Netflix show. They have the same amount of minutes watched, 398.3 million minutes. And so they put Rings of Power on number 5, even though they're tied with Emily in Paris. So number 1 is this newest Netflix, I don't know if it's a documentary, the Menendez story. It's at 2.7 billion minutes watched. It did beat out Secret Lives of Mormon Wives this week, so barely, but yeah, they can at least hang their hat on that. They beat out Agatha All Along, which got 304 million minutes. But considering that way more people are subscribed, I think, to Amazon, a lot of people are subscribed to Netflix. That's one of the biggest streaming services, but a lot of people have Amazon Prime for other things, you know, for shipping and other services. A lot of people are subscribed to Amazon Prime for the other services that membership offers. Not solely maybe the content, but they're subscribed for other reasons. But even then, you would kind of have like a pretty broad subscription base. And even then, you're only tied with Emily in Paris. This is so sad. Previously, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives was beating them out, but everyone's watched that, I guess. So it's starting to peter out. Tulsa King, that's up there. The Perfect Couple still is getting decent numbers, almost 1 billion again. But they did get a slight bump. Again, like the previous week was 340 million. Now it's like 398. Tulsa King is on here twice because I think they separate it by season. Yeah, this is season 2 up here at number 3. Tulsa King season 1 is number 9. So it's actually like overall doing very well because these numbers up here are 518 million for season 2 and then 258 for season 1. So this number in particular, Luminate, does distinguish it from season 1. I guess I should have prefaced that before. So Nielsen was combining the 2 seasons for their viewership numbers, but this is the numbers of US streaming data just specifically for season 2 viewership. That's good to keep in mind. This is just solely for season 2 US viewership. I guess it got a slight bump up there, but can it breach 300 million? That's such a failure. The fact that look at all these other viewership numbers too. Tulsa King is doing very well with season 1 and season 2 combined. It's both on here on this list, and it can only do as well as Emily and Paris, or only as well as the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives in the previous weeks. This is just glaringly obvious that the show continues to decline even as the show is premiering, which it should be going up. Word of mouth, positive word of mouth should be bumping up these numbers as it is actively premiering with such a famous IP as this. The fact that it's not shows so much Amazon's mistreatment of Tolkien and this mythology. The show was especially frustrating after watching Fallout, a show where they told an interesting story that still fits in the context of the setting, on Amazon even. The difference is night and day too, because the creators, Jonathan Nolan and Todd Howard, the creator of the Fallout franchise, was on board as executive producer. He was creatively involved in that, at least just making sure that everything was authentic to the world and fit. And just night and day with the approach there, and clearly there's a clear difference in the audience response and even general audience response, because even if you're not familiar with the Fallout franchise, well, at least it's a well-made show with interesting characters. Go figure. That's what happens. Well, who knows if we'll get another Fallout show though, because can they afford it if they're going to do another season of this? They're having to measure financial success in other ways. And the same thing with like Apple. They're spending probably the most money on content nobody is watching. Apple TV Plus, no one's watching it, but they're producing a lot of good content. Hardly anyone is watching that particular streaming service. But I mean, Apple, of course, is like $1 trillion company. I mean, it's not like they can't afford it. The same article where they claimed that Balrog was like climate change, they said that they discovered that Gandalf was Gandalf because it just made sense as we were writing. It's just like the epitome of creative bankruptcy because they're not competent either. They're not competent enough and knowledgeable enough and passionate enough to tell a entertaining, compelling story that fits within Tolkien's legendarium. They could have tried to do something wholly original, but still fit within the world of Middle-earth. Don't have any of the legacy characters, but maybe like choose a setting and have that whoever's doing it like be knowledgeable of the events surrounding maybe like the establishment of the kingdom of Arnor and Gondor. Have that be like the backdrop. Set a story within there. You don't have to use the same characters. You don't have to be tied to that, but it should still fit within that mythos. But no, they want to have their cake and eat it too. They want the IP, they want the famous characters, but they want to do their own thing. They want to twist it into their own vision, which I don't know. They all go to the same school, I guess, of writing because they all do the same thing. I feel like this could have been made by the same showrunners of The Acolyte. They use the same tropes, and I feel like they're all like in on this together. I don't know. There is sort of a connection with Star Wars and Rings of Power because I think J.J. Abrams put in a good word for Amazon for Payne and McKay. I don't know why. Is J.J. Abrams' pull really that significant? To like put two completely inexperienced guys ahead of this billion-dollar production? It still baffles me. I wish the Rings of Power had never come to us. I wish none of this had happened. And surely so do all who have lived to see such times. I know, but here we are. At least we can endure it together. Instead of watching The Rings of Power, I've been listening to Lord of the Rings audiobook read by Andy Serkis. I've been listening to that as well. I'm in the Two Towers right now. I love it. I love it so much, and it has just been the perfect antidote to the poison that is Rings of Power. Can we come up with the novel Tolkien never wrote and do it as the mega event series that could only happen now? Oh yeah, that's another quote. That's a banger right there. Yeah, it's for sure Tolkien never would have written this trash heap of a show.